It was pretty exciting to finish each song because from start to finish, from the first drum beat that existed, or the first idea of a melody, or the first guitar chord that started that song to its finished form, was like an immense journey. The singing and the vocals and all the lyrics and everything that kind of came in the 11th hour. And it's like the song would be unrecognizable, almost so much that it's kind of a shock to hear it for the first time as a fully realized song, because it's like I recognize something about this, but it's unfamiliar at the same time.
These songs were instrumental for so long. Like, we saved the vocals for like very last. So yeah, like listening to the instrumental versions of these songs, it's like this is a completely different song.
We all worked really hard in teams, as a group, as a recording unit. At the end of the day, I'm sitting on compelling music that barely makes sense to me, and I've got to find a way to make it a song, because at that point, the only thing that's going to make it a song is lyrics and vocals. And I'll just say to Sebastian and Nick and Gina, thank you guys so much, because I don't know if I would be able to extend that much trust to somebody with something that had already been so considered and so seemingly finished.
I don't know, we spent a lot of time on the music, so I think John and I wanted to spend give an equal amount of attention to the vocals. And so we really put like every word, every lyric, every melody under an extreme microscope, which was kind of like its own process in and of itself. I just think it's cool that everything is given such, such consideration.
Very frequently, I just need, I just kind of default to isolation mode, and that's where if I stew around for a little while, I eventually find something inspiring. And it might take, it'd take me a day sometimes. Sometimes it'd take me 2 weeks. Sometimes it'd take me 3 weeks. I don't know. Sometimes it took a while to feel the spark of inspiration, and when it hit hard, and then I'd have to, I'm kind of one of those guys that's just like on the edge of the cliff. There's all the inspiration. I don't know what's down there. I'm just going to jump off head first and hope that I come up intact. And that seemed to happen. But there's no way that it happens if they don't trust me. If there's like some second guessing that happens along the way. So, man, it's just a huge leap of faith that we all take at that point.
There were a couple of songs that didn't make sense to me until I heard the vocals. And now it's like, it sounds like the songs were maybe written around the vocals, which they totally weren't. But that's awesome that they turned out like that.
John really pushed me to explore some different parts of my voice, I guess, that I didn't know were a thing, or that I didn't even necessarily like hearing. I would hear it back and feel like, oh shit, it doesn't sound like Baroness, because I can hear myself in there, and that's freaking me out. It was another aspect musically that I was well, I'm outside my comfort zone. Let's see what happens with this.
The way they sing together and the places John went with his voice on this record, I feel like he committed and has a new confidence in his vocals that was just different before. He really has some amazing vocal performances on here. And him and Gina's vocals together is awesome.
That trust and that care and that respect that exists amongst the four of us is so potent that it, you know, a lot of times when I feel like I'm floundering, it's the gust of wind in my sails that helps me complete something, because I know what might work for me that I don't think is going to impress the other guys is not good enough. It's got to be good enough for me, and good enough for Gina, and good enough for Nick, and good enough for Seb, and then good enough for the band as a whole. And then, you know, then we give that to Dave to mix, and he, you know, I want everybody to feel like they were there for that last portion of it. Like these lyrics, while they might not be obvious to even the band members when they're initially written, that those lyrics have an impact on everybody.
I'm extremely excited at how cohesive this collection of music ended up sounding. Because honestly, up until we heard the sequence of the record, I was like, how do these songs make sense together? And that's the thing about the order of operation when we write, is that for most of this, the lyrics and the melody come at the end.
And then after that is Cold-Blooded Angels, right? And that song was maybe spent more time writing that song than any other song that I've ever written. And almost none of that was about the music itself. Gina and I really, really dug our heels in and made sure that we liked what happens vocally in that song. And I had a special guest vocalist on that who is a 9-year-old girl called Isabella. It was my daughter. Let's see. And then I started doing like, what would it sound like if Glenn Danzig sang Radiohead playing the Ramones or whatever at the end. That song's fun.
We messed with this idea a couple times on the record of like having almost 2 songs that were one, you know? And I think like that is the coolest accomplishment of that song, of that idea on this record, is like we have this like beginning that has like this really beautiful guitar part, and their voices just sound awesome together on the first part of that. And Izzy makes an appearance singing on that one, which is super cool.
Cold-Blooded Angels, that was surprisingly the hardest in a way. Okay, I don't want to go into a long explanation about that. Ramping up.
Cold-Blooded Angels makes me think of... That was a really tortured vocal experience, I think, for both John and I. Maybe me and John simultaneously lost our minds at that point in time.
Oh, I miss the bitter hand that cuts me down. Oh, nothing.
Well, glad we could talk about our feelings. I feel like we're in like a serial killer's like holding tank.
Serial killers holding deck.
Yeah.